Greece emerged from World War II devastated by occupation, resistance warfare, and the brutal civil conflict that followed liberation. The Greek Civil War, fought between 1946 and 1949 between communist forces and the Western-backed Greek government, left the country's infrastructure in ruins and its military requiring complete reconstruction. As Greece aligned itself firmly with the Western Bloc during the emerging Cold War, the task of rebuilding Greek armored forces became both a military necessity and a political imperative, with the United States taking the lead in providing equipment, training, and support to ensure Greece could defend itself against communist threats both internal and external. The story of Greek tanks in the post-World War II era is fundamentally a story of American military assistance, as Greece transitioned from the modest collection of worn-out British and captured German vehicles that survived the war to becoming equipped with successive generations of American armor. From the M4 Shermans that fought in the Greek Civil War to the M47 and M48 Pattons that equipped Cold War armored divisions, from the M24 Chaffee light tanks that provided reconnaissance capability to the eventual introduction of modern main battle tanks, Greek armored forces evolved from a collection of war-weary equipment into a professional force capable of defending Greek territory and contributing to NATO collective defense. Greece's strategic position, controlling access to the Aegean Sea and forming NATO's southeastern flank, made its military capabilities important to Western defense planning. The constant tension with neighboring Turkey, another NATO member but historical rival, and concerns about potential Soviet expansion in the Balkans meant Greece maintained substantial armored forces throughout the Cold War, despite its relatively small economy. This comprehensive examination explores every tank type that served in Greek forces from 1945 through the end of the Cold War, revealing how American military aid shaped Greek armor, how these vehicles were employed during the Civil War and subsequent decades, and how Greek armored forces evolved to meet changing strategic requirements while navigating complex regional politics. The M4 Sherman medium tank became the foundation of Greek armored forces during the critical post-war reconstruction period and saw extensive combat during the Greek Civil War. Greece began receiving Sherman tanks through American military assistance programs starting in 1946 as the Civil War intensified and the United States recognized the strategic importance of preventing communist victory in Greece. The Sherman, America's primary medium tank during World War II, remained effective against the light weapons and improvised armored vehicles available to communist forces. Greece received various Sherman models including M4A3 and M4A4 variants, eventually operating several hundred by the late 1940s. The Sherman weighed approximately 30 to 33 tons, depending on variant, with armor up to 76 millimeters on frontal surfaces, providing reasonable protection against anti-tank weapons of the era. The 75mm M3 gun, mounted in most Greek Shermans, could engage both armored targets and provide high explosive fire support against infantry positions, fortifications, and other soft targets. Some Shermans received the more powerful 76mm gun, improving anti-tank capability. A coaxial .30 caliber machine gun and bow-mounted machine gun supplemented the main armament, while a .50 caliber machine gun on the turret roof provided anti-aircraft capability and additional firepower. The five-man crew consisted of commander, gunner, loader, driver, and assistant driver bow gunner. Various engines powered different Sherman variants, with most Greek examples using the Ford GAOV-8 gasoline engine producing 500 horsepower in M4A3 variants. Maximum speed was approximately 40 to 48 kilometers per hour on roads, adequate for the mountainous Greek terrain. The vertical Volant spring suspension provided reasonable ride quality and reliability. Greek Sherman tanks saw extensive combat during the Greek Civil War, supporting government forces in operations against communist strongholds in northern Greece. The armor and firepower provided by Shermans proved decisive in many engagements, as communist forces lacked effective anti-tank weapons and could not match government firepower. Sherman supported attacks on communist positions in mountainous terrain, demonstrated the value of armor even in difficult geography, with the tanks providing mobile fire support and psychological impact. Greek tank crews, many trained by American advisors, developed proficiency in mountain warfare tactics, learning to use terrain for protection while bringing the Sherman's firepower to bear on enemy positions. The Sherman's reliability and ease of maintenance made it well suited to Greek service, as American spare parts and ammunition were readily available through military aid programs. After the Civil War ended with government victory in 1949, Sherman's remained Greece's primary battle tank through the 1950s. Greek armored units conducted extensive training with American advisors, developing tactics and procedures aligned with NATO standards as Greece moved toward membership in the Western Alliance. Sherman tanks participated in numerous exercises and training operations, preparing Greek forces for potential conflicts with communist neighbors. Greek Shermans underwent various modifications and upgrades during their service life, including installation of improved radios, adaptation of weapons, and mechanical improvements to extend service life. Some Shermans were converted to specialized roles including armored recovery vehicles, self-propelled guns, and other support functions. By the late 1950s and early 1960s, as more modern tanks became available through American military assistance, Greek Shermans gradually transitioned to second-line units, training roles, and reserve formations. However, some remained in active service into the 1960s, particularly in specialized and support roles. The Sherman's long service with Greek forces demonstrated both the tank's basic soundness of design and the financial constraints that meant Greece retained older equipment longer than wealthier NATO allies. M24 Chaffee light tank. The M24 Chaffee light tank provided Greek forces with reconnaissance and screening capability starting in the late 1940s. The United States supplied Greece with M24 Chaffees through military assistance programs, with deliveries beginning around 1947 to 1948 and continuing into the early 1950s. The Chaffee represented a significant improvement over earlier light tanks, combining reasonable firepower with good mobility and reliability. The M24 weighed approximately 18 tons, with armor ranging from 9 mm to 25 mm, providing protection against small arms and shell fragments, but inadequate against anti-tank weapons. The 75 mm M6 gun, adapted from the B-25 bomber's nose gun, provided surprising firepower for a light tank, capable of engaging both armored vehicles and providing high explosive support. While the 75 mm gun lacked the penetration of tank guns, it proved adequate against light armor and devastating against soft targets. A coaxial .30 caliber machine gun and bow-mounted machine gun provided additional firepower, while a .50 caliber machine gun on the turret roof gave anti-aircraft capability. The five-man crew operated in cramped but functional conditions. Twin Cadillac WWII engines producing a combined 220 horsepower gave the Chaffee excellent performance, with maximum speeds of approximately 56 kilometers per hour on roads and good cross-country mobility thanks to the torsion bar suspension. The Chaffee's lightweight and good power-to-weight ratio made it particularly suitable for Greece's mountainous terrain. Greek Chaffee units conducted reconnaissance missions, screening operations, and security duties. During the final phases of the Greek Civil War, Chaffees participated in pursuit operations against retreating communist forces, using their speed to cut off escape routes and conduct rapid advances. After the Civil War, Chaffees equipped Greek reconnaissance battalions and cavalry units, providing mobile screening forces for armored and mechanized divisions. Greek Chaffee crews received extensive training from American advisors, learning reconnaissance tactics and procedures that aligned with NATO doctrine. The tanks participated in numerous exercises throughout the 1950s and early 1960s, often working alongside heavier Shermans and later M47 Patton tanks. Greek Chaffees underwent various modifications during their service, including improved communications equipment, adaptation to Greek conditions, and mechanical upgrades. Some were converted to command vehicles, armored personnel carriers, and other specialized roles. The M24 remained in Greek service through the 1960s, with some examples continuing in second-line and training roles into the 1970s. The Chaffee's reliability, good performance, and adequate firepower made it a valued component of Greek armored forces during the critical early Cold War period. M26 Pershing heavy tank. Greece received a limited number of M26 Pershing heavy tanks in the early 1950s through American military assistance, The Pershing, America's first heavy tank to see combat during World War II, represented a significant increase in capability compared to the Sherman. The M26 weighed 42 tons with armor up to 102 millimeters on frontal surfaces, providing substantially better protection than the Sherman. The 90 millimeter M3 gun could penetrate significantly more armor than the Sherman's 75 millimeters, giving Greek forces genuine anti-armor capability against potential Soviet threats. A coaxial .30 caliber machine gun and bow-mounted machine gun supplemented the main gun. The five-man crew operated a more heavily armored but still mobile tank. The 4GAF V8 engine, producing 500 horsepower, the same engine as many Shermans, struggled with the Pershing's increased weight, resulting in a maximum speed of only 40 kilometers per hour and reliability problems from the overstressed powertrain. Greece received only a small number of Pershings, possibly 20 to 40 tanks, which equipped elite armored units. These tanks provided the Greek military with its most powerful armored vehicles in the early 1950s, capable of engaging any likely opponent. However, the Pershing's limited numbers, mechanical problems, and the rapid arrival of more modern tanks meant their Greek service was relatively brief. Most were replaced by M47 Pattons in the mid-1950s and subsequently relegated to training or scrapped. The M47 Patton medium tank represented Greece's first major influx of modern armor designed specifically for the Cold War era. Starting in the mid-1950s, the United States supplied Greece with substantial numbers of M47 Pattons through the Mutual Defense Assistance Program, eventually delivering several hundred tanks that transformed Greek armored capabilities. The M47 combined the hull of the M46 Patton with a new turret featuring a sophisticated rangefinder and fire control system, creating a tank that could engage targets at longer ranges with better accuracy than previous designs. The M47 weighed approximately 46 tons with armor up to 115 millimeters on the frontal turret surfaces, providing good protection against contemporary anti-tank weapons. The 90 millimeter M36 gun could penetrate over 180 millimeters of armor at 1,000 meters with heat ammunition, giving Greek forces firepower capable of defeating any likely opponent in the 1950s. The gun's elevation and depression range allowed engagement from hull-down positions, important for defensive operations in Greek terrain. A coaxial .30 caliber machine gun and bow-mounted machine gun provided anti-infantry capability, while a .50 caliber machine gun on the turret roof gave anti-aircraft and additional fire support. The five-man crew consisted of commander, gunner, loader, driver, and assistant driver bow gunner. The Continental AV1790 V12 air-cooled gasoline engine producing 810 horsepower gave the M47 excellent performance, with maximum speeds of approximately 60 kilometers per hour on roads. The torsion bar suspension provided good ride quality and cross-country mobility. The sophisticated fire control system, including a stereoscopic rangefinder, gave the M47 significantly better first-hit probability at long range compared to earlier tanks, though the system required extensive crew training. Greek M47 Pattons equipped the armored brigades and divisions that formed the core of Greek mechanized forces during the late 1950s and throughout the 1960s. These tanks provided Greece with genuine armored capability aligned with NATO standards, allowing Greek forces to participate meaningfully in alliance defense planning. Greek tank crews underwent extensive training on the M47's sophisticated systems, with many attending courses in the United States or training with American advisors in Greece. The M47's complexity represented a significant increase from the relatively simple Sherman, requiring improved maintenance capabilities and more sophisticated logistics. Greek armored forces adapted to these requirements, developing the technical expertise and support infrastructure necessary to operate modern tanks. M47 Pattons participated in numerous NATO exercises throughout the 1960s and early 1970s, demonstrating Greek armored capabilities and interoperability with Allied forces. The tanks also served in the ongoing confrontation with Turkey over Cyprus and other regional issues, providing Greece with credible armored deterrence. Greek M47s underwent various modifications during their long service life, including improved fire control systems, upgraded communications equipment, and mechanical improvements. Some were fitted with diesel engines to improve fuel economy and reduce fire risk, while others received improved armor packages. The M47 remained in Greek frontline service through the 1970s, longer than in most NATO armies, as Greece's economic constraints and the adequate performance of the Patton meant no pressing need for replacement. Even as more modern M48 and M60 Pattons arrived, many M47s remained in service with second-line units. Some Greek M47s continued in active service into the 1980s and even early 1990s and specialized in reserve roles, demonstrating the type's durability and Greece's practice of extracting maximum service from equipment. The M47 represented a watershed moment for Greek armored forces, providing the first truly modern tanks and the systems, training, and doctrine that would characterize Greek armor for decades. M48 Patton medium tank. The M48 Patton medium tank arrived in Greek service starting in the late 1960s, providing an improved version of the successful Patton design with better armor, improved fire control, and enhanced reliability. The United States supplied Greece with M48A1, M48A2, and M48A3 variants through military assistance programs, with several hundred eventually serving in Greek armored units. The M48 represented an evolution of the M47 design, incorporating lessons learned and addressing various shortcomings. The M48 weighed approximately 47 to 49 tons, depending on variant, with armor up to 120 millimeters on the frontal turret surfaces, providing improved protection over the M47. The turret's rounded shape offered better ballistic characteristics than earlier designs. The same 90mm M41 gun as the M47 provided the main armament, offering similar anti-armor capability. Later upgrades would improve firepower, but initial Greek M48s retained the 90mm gun, a coaxial .30 caliber machine gun, and later .50 caliber machine gun on the turret roof provided supplementary firepower. The four-man crew represented an improvement over the M47 as the bow machine gunner position was eliminated, reducing crew requirements and vulnerability. The Continental AV1790 engine in M48A2 and A3 variants provided similar power to the M47, but improved transmission and suspension enhanced reliability and performance. Maximum speed remained approximately 48 kilometers per hour. The M48A3 variant featured a diesel engine improving fuel economy and reducing fire risk, making it particularly valued by Greek forces. Greek M48 Pattons equipped armored brigades and divisions through the 1970s and 1980s, serving alongside and eventually replacing M47s in frontline units. The M48's improved reliability and simplified crew requirements made it popular with Greek tank crews, who appreciated the reduced maintenance burden compared to earlier tanks. M48 Pattons participated in the tense confrontations with Turkey during the 1974 Cyprus crisis and subsequent periods of heightened tension. While Greek and Turkish forces never engaged in large-scale tank combat, the presence of capable armor on both sides contributed to the strategic balance. Greek M48s underwent extensive modifications and upgrades during their service, with many receiving improved fire control systems, upgraded engines, better armor packages, and modernized communications. Some were upgraded to M48A5 standard with a 105mm M68 gun, significantly improving firepower and extending service life. The M48 remained in Greek frontline service through the 1980s and 1990s, with some continuing in second-line and reserve units into the 2000s. The tank's robust design, availability of spare parts through American supply, and cost-effectiveness meant Greece continued operating Pattons long after most NATO allies had replaced them. Greek M48 saw service in various specialized roles including armored recovery, bridge laying, and engineering vehicles. Some were converted to fixed fortifications along the Greek-Turkish border, with turrets removed and emplaced in concrete positions. M60 Patton Main Battle Tank. The M60 Patton Main Battle Tank represented the pinnacle of the Patton family and provided Greek forces with their most capable armor during the Cold War's later decades. Starting in the early 1970s, the United States supplied Greece with M60A1 and M60A3 variants, with deliveries continuing through the 1980s. The M60 incorporated significant improvements over earlier Pattons, most notably the 105mm M68 main gun and improved armor protection. The M60A1 weighed approximately 52 tons, with armor up to 143mm on the frontal turret and improved ballistic shaping compared to earlier Pattons. The 105mm M68 gun, license produced from the excellent British L7, could penetrate over 350mm of armor at 1,000 meters with modern ammunition, finally giving Greek forces a gun competitive with contemporary Soviet designs. The 105mm also fired effective high-explosive and smoke rounds. A coaxial 7.62mm M240 machine gun and .50 caliber M85 machine gun in the commander's cupola provided supplementary firepower. The four-man crew operated sophisticated fire control systems, including ballistic computers, laser rangefinders in M60A3 variants, and thermal sights allowing effective night combat capability. The Continental A VDS 1790 diesel engine, producing 750 horsepower, provided good performance despite the increased weight, with maximum speed of approximately 48 kilometers per hour and excellent range of over 450 kilometers. The improved torsion bar suspension and wider tracks enhanced cross-country mobility. Greek M60 Pattons equipped the most modern armored brigades, providing Greece with NATO-standard main battle tanks capable of engaging any likely opponent. The 105mm gun's firepower, improved armor protection, and sophisticated fire control systems represented a quantum leap in capability over earlier tanks. Greek tank crews underwent extensive training on the M60's complex systems, with many attending courses in the United States and Germany. The thermal sights and laser rangefinders on M60A3 variants required specialized training and maintenance, pushing Greek armored forces to develop advanced technical capabilities. M60 Pattons formed the core of Greek armored strength during the 1980s and 1990s, participating in numerous NATO exercises and maintaining readiness along the Greek-Turkish border. The presence of M60s in Greek service, matched by similar Turkish capabilities, created an armored balance that contributed to regional stability despite political tensions. Greek M60RS received various upgrades during their service, including improved fire control systems, explosive reactive armor packages enhancing protection against shape-charged weapons, upgraded engines and transmissions, and modernized communications and electronics. The M60A 3TTS variant with thermal sights provided true 24-hour combat capability. The M60 remained Greece's primary main battle tank through the 1990s and into the 2000s, with several hundred in service. Some continued in active service even after the introduction of Leopard tanks, demonstrating the M60's enduring utility and Greece's practice of maintaining mixed fleets. M60 chassis were converted to various specialized roles, including armored recovery vehicles with M48 recovery systems, bridge layers carrying portable bridges, and engineering vehicles with mine plows and other equipment. Late Cold War and post-Cold War period. Leopard 1A3 main battle tank. Greece's acquisition of Leopard 1A3 main battle tanks from Germany in the 1990s represented a significant diversification of Greek armor, introducing German-designed tanks alongside the American Pattons that had equipped Greek forces for decades. Financial considerations and the availability of surplus Leopard 1 tanks from German forces downsizing after the Cold War's end made the Leopard an attractive option. Greece acquired approximately 170 Leopard 1A3 tanks and subsequently upgraded many to Leopard 1A5 standard. The Leopard 1A3 weighed approximately 40 tons, significantly lighter than the M60 while providing similar firepower. The German emphasis on mobility over armor protection created a different design philosophy than American tanks. Armor was relatively thin, up to 70 millimeters on the frontal hull, but the tank's low profile and excellent mobility provided protection through being harder to hit. The same 105mm L7 gun as the M60, designated 105mm L7A3 in Leopard service, provided firepower identical to contemporary NATO tanks. Sophisticated fire control systems, including ballistic computers and excellent optics, gave the Leopard 1 renowned accuracy. A coaxial 7.62mm MG3 machine gun and turret-mounted MG3 supplemented the main gun. The four-man crew operated in a layout similar to other NATO tanks. The MTU-MB 838 CAM 500 multi-fuel engine producing 830 horsepower gave the lightweight Leopard excellent performance with maximum speed of 65 kilometers per hour and outstanding acceleration and agility. The torsion bar suspension provided good ride quality, and the track's design enhanced cross-country mobility. Greek Leopard 1A3S and upgraded 1A5 variants equipped armored brigades alongside M60 Pattons, providing increased tactical flexibility through mixed formations. The Leopard's superior mobility and accuracy complemented the M60's heavier armor and established logistics support. Greek Leopard 1S received various modifications including installation of Greek communications equipment, adaptation to Greek operational requirements, and integration with existing support systems. The Leopard 1A5 upgrade included improved fire control systems, thermal sights for night combat, and upgraded armor packages. Leopard 1 tanks served throughout the 1990s and 2000s, participating in exercises, training operations, and maintaining readiness along Greek borders. The introduction of Leopard tanks required Greek forces to develop new logistics capabilities and maintenance expertise for German equipment, expanding technical knowledge beyond American systems. Leopard 2A4 and Leopard 2A6 HEL main battle tank. Greece's acquisition of Leopard 2 main battle tanks in the 2000s represented the most significant modernization of Greek armored forces, introducing truly modern third-generation tanks with advanced protection, firepower, and mobility. Recognizing that both the M60 and Leopard 1 were becoming obsolete against modern threats, Greece pursued acquisition of Leopard 2 tanks from German surplus stocks and new production. Greece acquired approximately 170 Leopard 2A4 tanks from German stocks and subsequently ordered Leopard 2A6 HEL variants, an advanced version specifically configured for Greek requirements. The Leopard 2A4 weighed approximately 55 tons with composite armor, providing protection equivalent to hundreds of millimeters of steel against kinetic energy and shape-charged weapons. The modular armor system allowed upgrades as threats evolved. The 120mm Rheinmetall L44 smoothbore gun represented a generational leap in firepower, firing armor-piercing, fin-stabilized, discarding sabot rounds capable of penetrating over 600 millimeters of armor at 2,000 meters, along with high-explosive anti-tank and multi-purpose ammunition. A coaxial 7.62mm MG3 machine gun and turret-mounted MG3 supplemented the main gun. The four-man crew operated advanced fire control systems including laser rangefinders, thermal sights, ballistic computers, and fire-on-the-move capability allowing accurate engagement while moving. The MTU-MB 873 KA501 diesel engine, producing 1,500 horsepower, gave the heavy Leopard 2 outstanding performance, with maximum speed of 72 kilometers per hour despite the weight. The advanced suspension and wide tracks provided excellent cross-country mobility, even in rough terrain. The Leopard 2 A6 HEL variant featured the longer L55 120mm gun with improved penetration, enhanced armor packages including additional protection on turret and hull, improved fire control systems, and various Greek-specific modifications. Greek Leopard 2 tanks transformed Greek armored capabilities, providing NATO-standard third-generation main battle tanks capable of engaging any opponent. The advanced protection, devastating firepower, and sophisticated systems represented the cutting edge of armored warfare technology. Greek tank crews underwent extensive training on Leopard 2 systems in Germany and Greece, learning to operate and maintain these sophisticated vehicles. The complexity and capability of the Leopard 2 required significant investment in training infrastructure and technical expertise. Leopard 2 tanks equipped Greece's premier armored brigades from the 2000s onward, forming the core of Greek mechanized forces. The tanks participate in regular exercises, maintain readiness, and represent Greece's commitment to modern military capabilities. The introduction of Leopard 2 tanks allowed Greece to retire the oldest M60 variants and Leopard 1 tanks, though many remained in service in second-line units. The mixed fleet of Leopard 2, upgraded M60A3, and remaining Leopard 1 tanks provided Greece with substantial armored strength through the 2000s and 2010s. Light tanks and reconnaissance vehicles. M41 Walker Bulldog light tank. Greece received M41 Walker Bulldog light tanks starting in the 1960s to supplement and eventually replace the aging M24 Chaffee in reconnaissance roles. The M41 represented America's first post-war light tank design, incorporating lessons from World War II and Korea. The M41 weighed approximately 23.5 tons with armor up to 32 millimeters, providing protection against small arms and shell fragments. The 76mm M32 gun provided significantly better firepower than the Chaffee's 75mm, capable of engaging light armor effectively and providing good high-explosive capability. A coaxial .30 caliber machine gun and .50 caliber machine gun on the turret roof supplemented the main gun. The four-man crew operated in improved conditions compared to the cramped Chaffee. The Continental AOS 895-3 six-cylinder gasoline engine, producing 500 horsepower, gave the M41 excellent performance, with maximum speed of 72 kilometers per hour and outstanding acceleration. The torsion bar suspension provided good ride quality and cross-country mobility. Greek M41 Walker Bulldogs equipped cavalry and reconnaissance units through the 1960s, 1970s, and into the 1980s, providing mobile screening forces and rapid reaction capability. The M41's speed and firepower made it effective for reconnaissance and security missions in Greek terrain. Greek M41s participated in numerous exercises and training operations, working alongside heavier tanks and mechanized infantry. The light tanks' mobility allowed them to operate in areas where heavier armor could not, particularly in Greece's mountainous regions. M41 Walker Bulldogs gradually transitioned to second-line and training roles as armored reconnaissance vehicles, and other types assumed their missions, though some remained in service through the 1990s in specialized roles. Greek tanks in the post-World War II era tell the story of a nation rebuilding from devastation, aligning with the West, and developing modern armored forces despite limited resources and complex regional tensions. From the Sherman tanks that fought in the Greek Civil War to the Leopard, two main battle tanks that equipped contemporary Greek armored brigades. Greek armor evolved through successive generations of American and later German equipment. The immediate post-war period saw Greece's desperate struggle against communist insurgency, with American-supplied Shermans and Chaffees providing the armored power that helped secure government victory. These tanks, obsolete by international standards, proved adequate against lightly armed guerrillas and demonstrated the importance of armor even in counterinsurgency operations. The 1950s modernization with M47 Pattons transformed Greek armored capabilities, providing modern NATO standard tanks and the training, doctrine, and support systems that would characterize Greek armor for decades. The M47's sophisticated systems represented a quantum leap from the simple Sherman, requiring Greek forces to develop advanced technical capabilities. The introduction of M48 and M60 Pattons through the 1960s, 1970s, and 1980s maintained Greek armored strength at levels comparable to other NATO allies, providing credible deterrence against potential threats while allowing meaningful participation in alliance defense planning. The long service life of Patton tanks in Greek forces, with some remaining active into the 2000s, demonstrated both the design's fundamental soundness and Greek practice of extracting maximum service from available equipment. The diversification to Leopard 1 and eventually Leopard 2 tanks in the 1990s and 2000s introduced German equipment and design philosophy, expanding Greek technical expertise beyond American systems while providing cutting-edge capability. The Leopard 2 A6HEL represents the most sophisticated armor Greece has ever operated. Throughout the Cold War and beyond, Greek tanks served primarily as deterrents against regional threats rather than seeing combat. The confrontation with Turkey over Cyprus and other issues meant Greek armor maintained readiness for potential conflict that fortunately never materialized. Greek armored forces' story is one of steady modernization, professional development, and adaptation to changing strategic requirements while navigating financial constraints and complex regional politics. Today, Greek armored forces operate a mix of Leopard 2, upgraded M60, and remaining Leopard 1 tanks, providing substantial armored capability for a nation of Greece's size. The decades of American military assistance that equipped and trained Greek armor created lasting institutional knowledge, technical expertise, and interoperability with NATO allies. When we remember Greek tanks after World War II, we should remember the Sherman crews fighting communist guerrillas in Greek mountains, the M47 tankers training for potential Soviet invasion, the M60 crews maintaining vigilance during Cyprus crises, and the Leopard 2 operators carrying forward traditions of professionalism and capability. The tanks they operated, from war-surplus Shermans to cutting-edge Leopard 2s, represent Greece's commitment to defense and the Western alliance that sustained Greek independence through the Cold War's dangers.